All right, get ready to dive deep, because today we're tackling a creature that's more than just tentacles and teeth. The aboleth. You want the inside scoop on these ancient beings, the stuff that goes beyond the monster manual. Well, hold on tight, because that's exactly where we're headed.
Aboleths are often misunderstood, relegated to the role of a generic underwater terror. But their biology and psychology are fascinatingly alien. It's like glimpsing our world reflected in a shattered mirror, unsettling, yes, but undeniably captivating.
Okay, let's unpack this aboleths.summary.pdf you sent over. First off, that skin. It's described as soggy rubber, which isn't doing any favors for my lunch, but what's the deal with it?
It's tougher than it sounds. That multi-layered membrane, combined with their skeletal structure, provides incredible natural armor. But here's the catch. It needs to stay wet. Seriously wet. Dry out an aboleth and it doesn't die. It enters this creepy, long, dreaming state.
Long dreaming. That sounds
Yeah.
almost peaceful, not gonna lie.
Don't let the name fool you. Imagine being fully aware, able to sense everything, but completely paralyzed, unable to move or react, potentially for centuries. That's long dreaming. For an aboleth, a fate they fear even more than death.
Okay, now that's just messing with you. Two hearts. You're telling me under that soggy rubber exterior beats a heart for each of their Lovecraftian heartthrobs.
Not quite a love story. One heart circulates blood like ours do, the other, dedicated solely to the brain. It's like their immense intellect needs its own personal power source.
Which makes you wonder, right? Two hearts, one for the body, one fueling that massive brain. If their intellect is that reliant on a separate power source, could you target one heart to cripple an aboleth's mind? It's a whole new level of weakness to exploit.
What's fascinating here is that their minds are already dealing with more input than we can imagine. Aboleths aren't just born, they're downloaded, imprinted with the memories of their ancestors. We're talking about memories stretching back further than recorded history, maybe even to the creation of the world itself.
Yeah, talk about information overload. No wonder they don't need childhood. They hatch fully formed with millennia of experiences already hardwired.
It's not just the quantity of memories, but the quality. They experience the emotions, the sensations, the very essence of what they consume. Imagine tasting your meals, fear, their joy, their entire life story.
Maybe we skip the aboleth cooking show.
Yep.
So they hit a certain age and all that memory,
Mhm.
all that knowledge just keeps building. No midlife crises for these guys, just more existential dread.
You could say that. As they age, their physical growth plateaus, but their minds, their memories, they just keep expanding. This makes their society incredibly unique. Leaders aren't the strongest, they're the most knowledgeable, the savant aboleths. Imagine a civilization run by obsessive scholars, their every decision shaped by eons of experience.
Okay, that is both fascinating and terrifying. It makes you wonder what they do with all that knowledge, all that experience. I mean, this aboleths.summary.pdf mentions master glyphs. What are those exactly? Some kind of ancient aboleth graffiti.
Think less spree paint, more societal programming. These glyphs are complex, magical expressions of aboleth ingenuity, capable of influencing the minds and actions of other beings.
It sounds a little sinister, honestly.
There's a reason for that. Take, for instance, the glyph of slave's glory. It doesn't just enslave through magic. It manipulates the mind into believing servitude is a reward. It speaks to their deep understanding of psychology, their mastery over manipulation honed over millennia.
So much for my aboleths or misunderstood scholars theory. Though I guess when you've seen civilizations rise and fall like tides, you learn a thing or two about control.
Mm.
What else do we know about how their society functions?
They are builders and architects. Their cities, found in the deepest trenches of the ocean, are vast, cyclopean structures that dwarf anything we've ever built. Each one a testament to their alien aesthetic, a monument to their deep aversion to the open sky.
Aversion to the sky. You'd think with those massive brains they'd have invented sunscreen by now.
It's not a matter of sunburn. They are creatures of the deep. Remember those memories passed down. Imagine generations upon generations of deep-sea dwelling, of associating the surface with danger and discomfort. That's hardwired into their very being.
So we're talking about a race of beings so alien, so uncomfortable with the surface world that they've never attempted to dominate it. It's a chilling thought. If they ever decided to, what kind of defenses could we possibly build? Underwater bunkers,
Yeah.
cities on stilts.
Physical barriers might not be enough. Remember, aboleths are masters of psychological manipulation. Their enslavability isn't just a parlor trick, it's a weapon they've honed over eons. Imagine what they could accomplish if they set their sights on our leaders, our institutions.
It's a good thing they're content to stay in their underwater cities then, right?
Yeah.
Except This document hints at something called elder evils. Anything we should be worried about there?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Remember how we talked about their racial memories going back eons? Well, some of those memories contain fragmented glimpses of a time before the gods, ruled by entities of unimaginable power, the elder evils.
You know, I picked Aboleths for this episode because I thought they'd be less stressful than last week's deep dive on elder horrors, and you're telling me it's all connected.
Connections are what make these deep dives so fascinating. The document names 5 specific elder evils: Bluthmog, Holashner, Piskietzes, Shawnatug, and Yichak. Forces of nature, each one, capable of reshaping reality on a whim.
Okay, so we've got Aboleths, already ancient and powerful, who are themselves in awe of even older and more powerful entities. That's a lot to process.
It does make you wonder about the nature of power in the universe, doesn't it? And what it means for us, caught between the Aboleths we know and the elder evils we can barely comprehend.
So what exactly is their relationship with these elder evils? Do they worship them, fear them?
It's more nuanced than that. Aboleths aren't religious in the traditional sense. They don't worship deities.
Yeah.
But they do seem to revere these elder evils, to hold them in a kind of awe. Their cities are designed to honor them, their very architecture echoing the bizarre and unsettling forms of these cosmic beings.
We've talked about Aboleth cities and this unsettling reverence for elder evils. But what about individual Aboleths? Are they all city-dwelling masterminds?
Not necessarily. This aboleths.summary.pdf you sent mentions variations. Like, what if you took an aboleth and threw it in a swamp, asking for a friend?
Your friend must have a thing for amphibious Aboleths.
Amphibious aboleths.
Yeah, they've adapted to life in swamps and marshes, more comfortable on land than their deep-sea dwelling kin, though they still need water to survive.
Okay, so more of a monster in the swamp vibe, but what about the sky? Any chance we'll find them chilling with the rocks anytime soon?
That might be pushing it. However, there are the Uoboleths, or aerial Aboleths.
Aerial aboleths.
They dwell in the upper atmosphere, creating their own self-sustaining, perpetually moist cloud cities through ancient magic. So picture this. You're flying through a storm, lightning's flashing, and suddenly through the clouds you see it. A city of Aboleths, just floating there. That's nightmare fuel. They really do take home field advantage to a whole other level. What about the Nine Hells? Any Aboleths down there?
The infernal energies of the Nine Hells have a way of twisting even the most resilient creatures. That's where you'll find the Stygian Aboleths, warped and changed by their exposure to that plane's unique ambiance.
You know, for creatures that prize knowledge and memory above all else, they sure do get around. It makes them a much more versatile threat than just a dungeon boss. For those of us who like to play tabletop RPGs, what are some unique ways to include them in a campaign?
The key is to lean into the mystery. Don't feel the need to explain everything about them. Give your players glimpses of their true nature, their ancient plans. Remember those savant Aboleths obsessed with knowledge? Perhaps they're searching for a way to control or even summon those elder evils, or maybe they've found a way to break free from their instinctive aversion to the surface and are subtly manipulating events to their advantage.
It's like playing a campaign on the timescale of shifting continents. How do you even fathom fighting that?
The beauty of it is you don't necessarily have to fight it. Maybe your players become unwitting pawns in an ancient Aboleth scheme. Or they discover evidence of Aboleth influence in the most unexpected places. A single well-placed detail, like an Aboleth inscription on an ancient artifact, can send chills down your players' spines and make them question everything they thought they knew about your world.
You've given us a lot to think about. Any final thoughts on how to make Aboleths truly memorable antagonists or even reluctant allies in a campaign setting?
Remember, Aboleths should be unknowable, a force of nature as much as a creature. Play up their alien mindset, their unsettling presence, and most importantly, don't underestimate their intelligence. They've had eons to learn, to adapt, and to scheme. Who knows what they're truly capable of?
Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the world of the Aboleth, a creature as ancient and complex as the ocean depths they call home. Remember, sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we understand the least. Until next time, happy gaming.